Okay, Carolyn and Pamela, 36 hours post Race Across America.
Is it 36 hours already?
It's 36
Jesus.
hours.
Okay.
What?
We just had some awesome fish and chips, so we feel really good.
And crab cakes.
So doing the Maryland experience then. So we're at the harbor here, just across from where the finish was. No more arch.
They just took it down. We watched it.
And every time I go over there, I'm crying again.
So how are you feeling at this point? Has it sunk in what you've done, what you've achieved?
Definitely not yet.
I can't stop crying.
Yeah, that is the thing.
Ever since yesterday, basically, even before the finish line, going into our last shift.
Oh, yeah.
I was starting to feel really sad about it being over, and I don't even know what to do with myself right now. It was such an incredible experience, and a family working together to accomplish something pretty huge.
A family in every sense, like the good, the bad, the ugly kind of thing, you know?
Absolutely.
Which it has to be good and bad for it to mean something, I think.
Yeah.
James got a shirt that said suffer better, and I'm like, that's maybe the best way to think about it.
Yeah, for those on the line, I definitely think that this is something to celebrate. I'm very, very happy.
And I cried when the woman selling me the shirt said, like, oh, was he on your crew? And I'm like, no, but I wouldn't have gotten to the start line, and certainly not the finish line without James, so.
So emotionally, things are still settling. How about physically?
Physically, I feel better than I thought.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And even
She trained a lot more than I did.
well, and I expected saddle and like undercarriage issues to be a big problem. No, it's not perfect.
It's not great.
But I will say we were on 4 back-to-back rainy shifts at the end.
4 days of straight rain.
And given that, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I feel much better than I expected in every sense of the word, and wanted to get on a bike today. And we joked about, but kind of we're serious, like we could turn around and ride back. Well, that sounds crazy.
I mean, with not
really.
on a tandem, maybe. Pamela and I could ride back. Riding a tandem, I'm going to say this again, I've said it on a couple other interviews. I did this race 6 years ago on a solo bike, and we had different challenges on the team. But riding a tandem is just so much more complicated. It's so much more emotional, and it's mentally way more taxing. I think for me the hard part is the mentally taxing part, because you're not just responsible for keeping yourself safe. Like, you have to work in a coordinated manner with somebody. It's really hard.
Yeah, it's like a hyper-vigilant state.
Yeah, yes.
And particularly when it's raining and you're on slick roads, descending slick roads with somebody else.
And you don't have full
see
control over the bike.
behind you, right.
They can do stuff in the back, and generally our stokers were great, but it's just different, and it's harder.
Well, so one of the other pilots was commenting on shoulders and forearms being extremely fatigued at this point.
Tina had some medicated, like, ibuprofen gel that I just basically, like, put on my shoulder for 2-3 days straight.
Anything else jumping out?
2 to 3 days, and my shoulders and neck were really sore. You actually have quite an upper body workout controlling the tandem, and I ride an aero almost exclusively. Other than when climbing, I'm an aero on the tandem, even in crosswinds, and it gets really tiring.
So, 3,000 miles later, what was your favorite part of the race? Favorite stage, maybe?
Monument Park in Arizona, or Utah, rather. I don't know what state
Monument
was what.
Valley,
God,
Utah.
Monument Valley, Utah was beautiful. I love night riding. That's really fun. I did love descending glass elevator, but it was the scariest part. What did you like the best?
I loved descending a couple of different things into Mexican Hat, Utah. I really like that stretch. I did it last year on Race Across the West and got to do it again with Tina. And so having done it and on the tandem, I was more confident and comfortable because I already knew the lay of the land there. And I also enjoyed Levada Pass, getting to climb and descend that. Tina and I had an hour or so, a little over an hour shift on that. And that one was right after Wolf Creek Pass. It was a smaller one, but we knocked it all out together. And so that descent was really sweet because we'd done all the work to get to the summit.
We would trade off when we were riding. Like, it was like, okay, so who's going to take these climbs? And it was, we were all trying to be really generous. Like, here's a great descent. Like, who's had the last one? Like, because it's really fun to just fly on a tandem. But
okay, so we're talking about some of the high points. You encountered rain, standing water, hail.
Oh, you know what? That was one of my favorite parts. Was like cyclocross running across the fast-moving water. I was already so wet, it didn't even matter.
It was pretty amazing.
And then
I loved
everyone's out of the
watching.
cars. Pamela's videoing. I gotta upload the other video where somebody's videoing, Pamela videoing us.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's good.
So what takeaways do you have etched in your memory from this? Well, what one moment is there? You can close your eyes and you can picture something.
That's so hard. I mean, and there's so many lessons that I hope I'll be able to share later. I mean, for me, it's don't discount the stress that's involved in all of these things, and you're going to behave in a way. Maybe not everyone, but I feel like there were times when I wasn't my best self, and that's making it sound a lot better than it actually was. And just knowing when you need extra help. And I think I probably should have asked for help a couple times when I didn't, and I turned into a version of myself that it's good to know is there, but I hope I don't see again.
Okay, Pamela, any big takeaways?
Well, I think one moment that when I close my eyes and think of was our fight, and it was the low, and it was sort of just this crisis where we were both really stretched and beyond and exhausted and depleted and just kind of locked horns a little bit or a lot, and Carolyn was really wailing, if you don't mind me saying.
Well, because I was scared that I'd lose your friendship. I was crying because of that.
Yeah, and when I heard her say that, and you told me you were afraid of that, I immediately said, like, what we're doing is big. Like, this is bigger than us, this race, and our friendship is bigger than the race. And
I think Carolyn needs a hug.
we were able to work through it then pretty quickly.
Yeah, it actually was quite fast.
Yeah, it was a huge crisis, but worked through it, and
she saved my life like 8 times.
So I guess when I think about the race, you are a huge part of it for me.
I couldn't have done it without you there.
And I feel the same way.
Now we'll go cry. Yeah.
A lot of people have seen this, and it's stirred something inside of them that might not have known there, or it might have been dormant for a little while. So a lot of people coming out and saying, you know what, this might be a race that I want to do, or maybe I want to do a race for the West, or maybe I want to start riding my bike again.
That's great. Ride your bike.
Everyone, if there's one thing you can say to those people who are just coming out and seeing what you did and going, you know what, I'm ready to get back to something I once was, or I want to be that person.
Well, the one comment I'll make if you want to do Race Across America or Race Across the West is don't take it lightly and spend many years preparing and fundraising. So that's when it comes to something like this, but when it comes to just trying to achieve something you didn't know you could do, you really can do anything you actually want to do. But you have to want to do it. It can't be a burden. You have to be all in.
Yeah, you have to want to do it and prepare. And I second the preparation. The training for this is cumulative. This isn't something you train for in 6 months.
How long have you been racing? Like 6 years, 7 years? Yeah. And I've been riding my bike for 18 years. It's been years, and she's been just doing insane amounts of miles for the past 6 years. Like it's
for the past year and a half, really.
Still, but year and a half, but like plus the base you had. So I mean, this isn't just like, oh, we trained for a year. This is like decades of work.
But also like you referenced the fundraising. In my mind, I have a lot of friends who physically could do this tomorrow.
Sit here.
Physically, emotionally, it would be exhausting, but the biggest obstacles and the biggest work that goes into this are the logistics and the money.
Yeah.
And
our crew is unreal.
It's not something I would want to undertake and put together personally.
So thank you to Jack Chan and Dan Berlin for doing the bulk of that
Huge
work.
Thank you. I just feel fortunate to have been able to show up and to ride a bike rather than having to put together the entire crew and the rotations and where we were going to stop and meet the RVs. It's just an exorbitant amount of effort that goes into putting together a RAAM team.
Our job was easy compared to that.
It was.
And so finally, what's the one thing you want to leave for everyone with? Just last comment.
Thank you for your support. I just felt like we had the entire country cheering for us, and like I haven't even fully processed just how grateful I am for everybody tracking and following and cheering and supporting us.
Yeah, I thank you for the support, and also, we really experienced such a gamut of emotions here, and coming out, I want to be really joyful and yet feel so sad and a little bit lonely, which is kind of crazy. But
No, it's not. It's understandable.
yeah, so just that we understand when other people are going through whatever they're going through, because through experiences like this, it mirrors life in a lot of ways. And I know Carolyn to be one of the most supportive, loving, compassionate people I know when others are in crisis or hurting. And I think we both really have a heart for that, because we ourselves have felt a lot and gone through valleys and mountains. And this was a mountaintop sort of, church camp experience.
Yeah.
But coming out of it, it is really painful and hard going back into the real world.
Well, thank you both of you. Love you both. For everyone watching, thanks for watching. We're going to sign off now. Time for everyone to head home. Thanks for all the support along the way, everyone.